is your local election headquarters. Primary day for congressional seats across New York is next Tuesday.
That's right. Republicans in the 24th Congressional District, which now covers a good chunk of our region, will get to choose between three candidates: incumbent Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, George Phillips, and Mario Fratto. Fratto has sat down with us earlier today. Joining me now is Mario Fratto. He's running for the congressional seat in the 24th Congressional District. It's newly formed. He's running against Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. We had hoped for a debate. I tried to reach out to Congresswoman Tenney's campaign in many different ways. I never got a call back, so I invited Mario Fratto, and he had agreed to a debate. And I want to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I wish we were here for a debate, but as it plays out, we're not, so I'm just glad to be here.
Absolutely. You were born in Geneva, you went away, you went to the best university with an orange as a mascot, by the way. You ended up coming back, taking over the family business. What made you decide to run?
Yeah, so I was gone for a while going to school, and I came back and opened a law office in Geneva. I was out in LA, and just politically, I obviously didn't fit in there. Being a Republican, you're pretty outnumbered. So I came back, I opened my law office, and 6 years I had the office, and then the last 3 years I've been running my family business. And I was pretty happy. My wife and I just got married, and it was when I found out she was pregnant, I was looking at the way the world was going and how, you know, I guess that it wasn't heading the direction I wanted it to. And I think a lot of people feel that way, on both sides really, that they're not happy with a lot, we're divided. And I didn't like the direction. I thought it was going so far left. And I was picturing myself in the future explaining this stuff to my son when he's 10 or 15 years old and telling him all the ideas I had politically. And I didn't want to sit there and tell him, well, this wasn't the right time, your mother was pregnant. I knew it was a redistricting year, so there might be an open seat. And when I knew that they were going to redraw the maps, I figured Geneva and the Finger Lakes area would be in the heart of the district. And sure enough, it was, and that solidified it for me in February when I saw the way they were drawing these maps.
You have Congresswoman Tenney. She's an incumbent. This is a GOP primary we're talking about here. What made you decide to run against her?
Well, oddly enough, I'm the only candidate who announced in New York 24 and that's still here. Chris Jacobs and myself were the only two that made the ballot. Then they changed the maps a little, and Congresswoman Tenney gave me a phone call and wanted me to get out of the race for her, and I obviously didn't, but she chose to run against me. She knew I was running here. She knew that she was from 100 miles away from the people here. She knew she was representing another district and decided that this would be an easier seat with her money, that she could just push me out. And I felt that I owed it to the people when I got into this race to stay. So she asked me to get out. I obviously didn't, and we're here. We got a week to go.
Yeah, I looked at your platform. It aligns very closely with the Republican platform. One stance, you say you're anti-illegal immigration. At the same time, a lot of folks in Wayne County, a lot of farmers that I've spoken with, they depend on migrant labor. How do you, if you're going to close the border, if you're going to deport, whatever you stand for, how do you make it work so that they can get the labor they need as well?
Well, I think the first thing is you need to talk to the farmers and ask them what works. And what Congresswoman Tenney had voted for, she was one of 30 Republicans who voted with AOC and the Democrats last March, is to give amnesty to all agricultural workers. It was a blanket amnesty. If you've worked for 6 months within the last 2 years, 1,000 hours in 2 years, you're legal, your wife, your children. But what happens is then they get into something else. So we tried it in '86 under Reagan. Millions of agricultural workers were given amnesty, and within 5 years, 70% were no longer in agriculture. And Congresswoman Tenney blames the farmers and says they asked for that. I've spoken to dozens of farmers by this point, and not one has told me that was a good program. And it's both sides to blame for this, because every election cycle we hear our immigration system's broken, we're going to fix it. From the right, we hear we're going to secure the border. From the left, we say we're going to, you know, make programs that make sense, that you don't let people cut the line and so on, and nobody fixes it. So I don't think the solution is to incentivize more illegal immigration by making it easy for people to get legal status, a pathway to citizenship, and that's what she's done. So I would talk to the farmers and say, should we expand visa programs, or do you recommend that we make the visas longer, you know, for 2 years or something? But the solution isn't to just give amnesty. I don't think anybody believes that.
The January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, what's your take on that?
I think it was an unfortunate incident, but I think it's being overblown for political purposes. Look, before Trump was elected, they tried to keep him out. There was an investigation into him, the FBI, the wiretaps, the whole nine, the insurance policy it was called in those text messages. It didn't work. There were 2 impeachments. It didn't work. And now the goal, I believe, with these hearings and blowing this thing up is to try to hold President Trump responsible to say he can no longer run for office. And that's not right. And you look where we're at now because of this. You know, we have a president's home being raided. I can't imagine if a little over a year into President Trump's first term, he had Barack Obama's home raided by the FBI and then his safe broken into. There would be chaos in the streets, I think. So it's scary, and nobody wanted a day like January 6th, but I think that we need to put it behind us and stop constantly seeking revenge on the other party. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. We're so divided that the second one party takes over, it's to go investigate the others.
If people want to learn more about you and your campaign, where can they go?
MarioForCongress.com.
And is it a 4 numeral 4?
Spelled out the word 4.
Okay, there you go. Excellent. Mario, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Unfortunately, again, Congresswoman Tenney could not join us for a debate. If she changes her mind, we are open to holding one, and we will make it happen. But again, the GOP primary coming up. You can find more information on that over at rochesterfirst.com.